If you don't like boring news but still crave the truth, then dive into The Robert and Crew Show. From mind-bending conspiracy theories to wild weather phenomena, we've got it all. Ever wondered what's really happening in your hometown, or what secrets the global news isn't telling you? We dig deep into the core of every story, unraveling the mysteries one podcast at a time. Join Robert and the crew as we navigate this vibrant, ever-changing cyberpunk landscape, bringing you interviews with the most intriguing minds out there. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, a news junkie or a weather enthusiast, there's something here for you. So strap in, listeners, because we're about to take you on a ride through the neon-lit alleys of truth and intrigue. This is the Robert and Crew Show, where the future meets the fantastic.
Welcome back to the Robert and Crew Show. As always, I'm your podcast host, Robert.
And I'm the co-host, Crew.
What are we doing tonight, Crew?
Well, okay.
Going on?
So tonight we were gonna do the Tartarian Empire Part 2, and show you guys different structures of Kansas City. But due to the fact that plans got changed, so we decided to hold off on doing that till Sunday. So tonight we are going to have a chill night like last night.
Yeah, so we're just gonna hang out and talk about random stuff, shoot the crap.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you do today?
Well, okay, so remember when I said to you earlier that I was normally get off around between 3:30 and 4?
Yeah.
I didn't get off till about 4:20.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
You had a long day at work.
Oh yeah, I did. I was so pissed.
Hey,
Well,
Julie.
hello, Julie. I did my normal, cleaning, right?
Right.
Come into work. Come to find out, it's going to be a busy day. I'm like, are you serious? They're like, yeah. So I go relieve the maintenance guy because he was doing some, stripping the rooms till I get there.
Right.
I go do what I'm normally doing. I'm like, and then I find out that, there's going to be a lot of rooms for you to strip. I was like, oh boy, okay. So I got done with the first round about, I'd say, 11-ish, right? About close to 11:30.
I feel it.
I'm not happy. I'm supposed to be done by 11:15. So I literally started my second walkthrough. I usually get done around 12:30, 1 o'clock, around there. I didn't get done till about 1:50.
So what was making it last so long for you?
Comic-Con was in town.
Oh, geez. Yeah, so Comic-Con's in town, which means you got tons of people staying at your hotel or whatever, and you got a lot of things going on.
A lot of checkouts.
Oh, God, that sucks. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Did you at least get to see a whole bunch of, like, cute anime girls running around? Or were you, no, you didn't? You got to clean up after all of them, but you didn't get to see any of them? That sucks.
Yeah. So I normally typically have about 3 to 4 rounds of trash.
Yeah.
I had 6 rounds of trash.
And like rounds, do you mean like that's like you did 6 floors basically?
No.
Trash?
No, like, okay, so it's a 4-floor building.
Mm-hmm.
So what I mean by rounds, I have this big black cart that goes to the dumpster that you can fill up with trash. I did 6 rounds of that.
Oh, jeez.
That's how much trash I had.
You had a lot of trash tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, the the gondola basically is what that thing's called. That big thing that you carry through the hallways that you fill up with trash.
Hmm.
We have one at where I work too. I don't know why they call it a gondola because a gondola is like the same thing that they use in Italy and like when they're like going down the river or whatever, they use gondolas. That's like a type of a boat, but it's also the name of a trash can. So weird. Or I might be completely wrong. I might sound like a complete idiot right now, but
It's a black cart with two wheels,
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
and it basically sits up like this. It can go up down like this
Right?
with handles at the back of it, and the bathrooms I had to do the most part. That was not fun.
Right.
I had to scrub the walls, and I'm like, oh man, this is taking too long. And I normally don't have to scrub the walls. I got out of there before the laundry person. The laundry person usually gets out of there before me.
You got out before the laundry person did?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. So what the laundry person was doing a lot of work tonight then, I guess.
Mm-hmm. They were like, "Oh, we're not getting out of here till about 5:30."
So
With how much laundry they had.
how many people did you have working with you at a time?
Okay, so there's the
And by
GM.
the way, this is called a gondola actually. Hey, wait a second. This is called a gondola actually. Is this what you use? Because this is what I use at my job.
Yes, but the handle is in the back. There's no red thing right there. There's
Yeah.
no back wheel. Basically, it looks like that, but it's a little bit longer.
Yeah, ours is a little bit longer too, and it's gray. But yeah, it's a trash gondola. That's really what they're called. They're called trash bin gondolas, and I'm like, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Because a
So,
gondola is a boat.
Mhm. So basically, so there's the GM, there's the maintenance person, then there's the front desk person, then there's me,
Right.
and and then there's the laundry person. So on the first floor, there's the laundry person, the GM, the front desk person, right? And then
Right.
the maintenance person goes around all the floors. But his office is on the fourth floor. So I roam around all the floors because I got to do all the floors.
And what do you
Then
do?
on
You're like vacuuming and sweeping and mopping.
mhm, checking the
Okay.
stairwell, and the bathrooms and everything else. But on each floor, there's two housekeepers assigned each floor. Then the housekeeping manager will roam all the floors.
Right.
So that's pretty much how it is usually
So
during the
how
day.
long does it take you to do the floors then?
Usually, if it's not busy,
Right. Well, how long will it take you to do a whole floor?
a whole floor, if it's not busy, I'd say about 30, 40 minutes. Now, if it's gonna, if it's busy, it could take me up to 45 minutes to an hour.
I mean, that's not like I mean, I get that like that's not terrible though. It
Yeah.
could always be worse. Like 45 minutes to an hour, that's not bad for a whole floor. We used to so at my job, like I can only be in those classrooms for 15 minutes, 20 minutes max. And I have to have everything in that room clean. I have to have the desks, the carpets, I have to like clean, like deep clean the carpet if it needs it. I have to get the whiteboards cleaned. I have to get the desks cleaned, the teachers' desks clean. I got to clean off the chairs. It's absolutely ridiculous. I got so much work to do every night, so I get it. When it's rough on you, you probably got like an hour, hour and 30 minutes or more rooms you don't even want to do a night. And sometimes, if I'm getting pulled away from my rooms and I'm getting called by teachers to come do this or come do that, my night can turn into like I could have an extra hour of work before the night's over. And then I got to really bust my butt trying to catch up and play catch up, and that just sucks.
Pretty much.
So, when you're working at your job, what's like some of the craziest things you end up seeing?
People refusing to leave the rooms. Cops having to be called. There was one time I was
Does that happen a lot?
no, sometimes, not all the time.
No, it
There was
doesn't happen a lot. You guys don't get like
right.
mad or something that don't want to leave their rooms.
Oh, we've dealt with those. There was one time I came in and I was in the middle of working, but the front desk person was looking at the cameras because she said a truck got broken into the night before and in the morning, and I'm like, oh, so she showed me and a few of the housekeepers the footage. It was like, oh wow,
Oh man. So like how'd they break into the truck? They break the glass with like a crowbar or something?
they shot the window.
With a gun?
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. How did nobody hear that?
I don't know.
So they fired off their weapon and busted the glass with that and then got in?
Mhm.
That's crazy. I'm surprised nobody heard that.
All because the truck had a trailer attached to it.
Yeah. Did
Hmm.
they take the truck like they drove off with the truck?
Nope.
No?
Mm-mm.
Did they get in the trailer? Oh
Mm-mm.
my god. Well, then what a waste. They shot the truck for nothing.
They got in the truck though.
Right. I mean, but the goal was to get into the trailer, correct? It
Hmm.
wasn't to get into the truck. So the truck was like, "Oh, we're just going to get into the truck for right now so that we can see what we can see what we can come out with." But if they could have gotten to the trailer, that was the goal. They were probably hoping there was a whole bunch of stuff in there or something that they could get their hands on and make some quick money.
Hmm.
Well, I saw that you sent some videos that you wanted to watch tonight. You want to start on those right now?
Heck yeah, let's go.
All right, buddy. Let's see what we got tonight. As always, I gotta play this beautiful thing for you because you just love it so much and you find it so attractive.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. No view in this podcast should be taken literal unless one of us says it is our personal opinion. But even so, it is only that, an opinion.
There we go. That's he loves that video. He said it's the most attractive I have ever looked in my entire life. He said it just gets him going. Okay, so the problem with these videos that I always have, because I immediately want to go, oh my God, look at the Tartarian architecture. Look, it's proof of Tartaria. That's the first thing I want to do. But then I remember that AI is a thing. So, like, do we know where this video was where that video was taken? So
Siberia, apparently.
I'm gonna give it a 5 on the debunk scale because I don't know where it came from. So I'm gonna put it right in the middle. It's
It
not.
says Siberia in the beginning of the video.
So if it is in Siberia, I would like to know where. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like that could be completely AI for all we know.
Yeah.
But those buildings, if they're real, there's got to be a log of them in Siberia or Serbia or whatever it said.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Yeah. So what with the whole Tartarian architecture, I've really got you on this whole Tartarian escapade now. You're always looking out for these buildings now. So much so that we're gonna go out to Kansas City. We're gonna find us some. We're gonna go
And I
find us
live
some
in
buildings.
Kansas City, so we're going down to downtown. We're gonna record for you guys, and it's gonna be all videos from us, not from TikTok or other,
Or other platforms.
media,
It's gonna be
other
our actual
platforms.
videos.
Yep.
We're gonna go and we're gonna look up the oldest structures in Kansas City. We're gonna go check them out, see the architecture. We're also gonna see if we can go into some of the churches. We have to figure out if they're open to the public the days that we can go, and if they are, if they allow filming. And if they allow filming, then we're gonna go in there and film some of them because they're absolutely gorgeous. The Catholic Church out in downtown Kansas City, absolutely gorgeous. I wish like I've been there before for a concert actually, like for school. Like we had a concert there in like I want to say it was in high school. It was a choir concert and I talked my dad into letting me go see it just cuz I wanted to go into that building.
We
I
should
wanted to
also
see.
check out Union Station.
Well, yeah, Union Station is like one of the oldest buildings in Kansas City, but the thing is it's been revamped a couple of different times. So I don't necessarily think that Union Station is Tartarian architecture. It could be. It could be an old Tartarian building that's just been like they've added to and built on top of, but that's like really hard to know. And I think they
Right.
actually have legitimate records on Union Station and who built it. But it
Well,
would be very interesting to go into those records and see like how long it took them to build it because
I
some
also
of it.
heard it's one of the most haunted buildings in Kansas City.
Oh, it is. There's supposedly a lot of ghosts. But the thing is it would be interesting to see if like they try to claim it only took like a year to build that. If it only took a year to build that, I don't believe it. I don't
Right.
believe that. I think that's a crock of crap and they're hiding something or they don't really know who built it and it was already there. And that's how I feel about a lot of these buildings. I feel like a lot of these Tartarian buildings, like the reason we think they're Tartarian because we can't prove they are, but the reason we think they're Tartarian is because nobody knows when the building was built. And if they do supposedly have a date for when the building was built, the buildings are usually built in 1 to 2 years. And some of these buildings we couldn't even build now in 5 years. So if that's true, the whole 1 to 2 years, how come we were better at building buildings back in the 17 and 1800s than we are now? That makes
That
absolutely no
part.
sense. Yeah, we should be technologically advanced enough now to make any building we want. Why do we make this lame ass architecture that looks like crap compared to what the Romans did and the Greeks did and the Italians and all of these European countries? How come we made boxy houses and boxy buildings that look like absolute crap?
Right.
We could have the most amazing architecture in the world if we really wanted to.
Hmm.
I mean, does it make sense to you? It doesn't make no sense to me at all.
It does not make any sense to me.
Would you rather live in a beautiful society where the buildings actually look and mean something and you can
Hmm.
tell all the hard work that was put into that building and that somebody slaved over that building to make it look as beautiful as it is and they're proud of their work? And then instead in our world that we live in now, you see a building and it just looks like brick stacked upon brick stacked upon brick. It probably took them half a year to build it, and it probably has 9 million roof leaks
Right.
because we freaking They want to get buildings up as fast as possible, and they always take shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to follow all these rules, but if they actually followed all of these rules, then the last 6 places I've worked in wouldn't have had roof leaks as bad as they do. And
Exactly.
I really believe that. It's just these people cutting corners. I mean, like, you work for a hotel company. Your hotel, like, I mean, if you've worked there long enough, you know where your place is leaking and where the boards ain't working correctly and where things are falling apart. And it's just like Roman architecture didn't just fall apart. It got weathered by like sand and water, but it didn't just fall apart.
But apparently, mud was its downfall.
Well, the mud floods are supposedly what covered up all that architecture.
Right.
So, like, do we believe in the mud flood theory? Do you believe the mud flood is a possibility?
I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, can we completely prove it 100%? Possibly. I mean, there's been proof on certain buildings that's been shown. Windows in the ground, like top of the windows, right? In the ground. Or top these
Right.
brick structures that you can see like slants like this in the ground that looks like part of a window. And it
Right.
it's basically mind blowing. And for me, when you did the Tartarian part one, um, I could not ask a simple question because I was so my brain was so like trying to process all that information, and
You're
I'm like,
just completely blown away by it, right?
because at that point you were introducing
The
me to a
Tartarian
whole
stuff.
new. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that Tartarian stuff is super interesting.
Yeah, like you were introducing me to something I've never heard about till that day. I'm like, I kept hearing you talk about the Tartarian Empire, and I'm like, what is Robert even talking about? This is weird. And I always talk about flat Earth, so I'm thinking you're trying to fuck with me at a bunch of those times talking about something I've never heard about. And then when you did the whole Tartarian Empire episode, I'm like, okay, this is what he's been talking about here lately. And I'm like, I'm coming in fresh new, not knowing what I'm getting into. And here I am now trying to figure out what the government and history has been lying to me this entire time about.
Right? I mean, that's what
It's a
it feels
rab
like too. It
it
just it just
and
feels like we've been lied to.
it's like this, like Brandon said yesterday, we're the whole world is just a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole, you know? It's just it's frustrating because every topic we come across, it's a rabbit hole
Oh
within a
yeah.
rabbit hole, and we
a
can't we
100%.
keep looking and looking and looking, and a lot does and doesn't make sense. So here we are trying to figure out the truth.
I mean, quite a few things don't make sense in the world, especially when you look into things like architecture and the way that the world was built and the things we're supposed to believe. We're supposed to believe that the same architecture that was built back in the 1800s and early 1700s, that architecture was built without power tools. It was built without lasers, and it was built by people that rode horse and buggy.
Mhm.
I don't believe that.
Right.
And they sure shit didn't just use a hammer and a chisel to create those beautiful, wonderful buildings.
Well, like you said, apparently they had technology based off energy. So how though? That's the question. But apparently the how part is because of Anunnaki. So when we get
Well,
further in this topic,
the Anunnaki supposedly.
yeah. So we're gonna do a whole series on this just for you guys, like we are on the JFK files. So bear with us when we get more information, and when we do the Kansas City part, that edition will be closed on that episode, unless we decide to do another part for Kansas City for the Tartarian part, because it is a big city.
Oh yeah, 100%. Okay, so I got something crazy here actually that I want to show you.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't save the second one. Okay, but anyways, this was Chicago back in the 17 and 1800s. Tell me why we tore it all down and why it looks the way it does now instead of the way it looked back then. Which I'm going to tell you the way it looked back in the 17 and 1800s was a lot more eye appealing than Chicago looks now. Let's take a little look at Chilago, which is what it was originally called when the Tartarians ran the world. That is a building in Chicago that is no longer there. That building was made at the same time people were using horse and buggy. Do you believe that?
That's.
Do you believe that for a single minute?
I mean, it looks real.
No, no, no. I
So
mean, do you believe that they built that with the same tools that they had back then?
it's
Chisel and
hard to.
hammer.
I mean, it's hard to believe, with chisel and hammer. Like how can you make that with the chisel and hammer?
Yeah, it's definitely not something that you think is possible. It doesn't seem possible. That stuff is way too freaking beautiful to be being created that way.
Hmm.
I could be wrong. I may not be giving credit where it is due, but it's very weird that these buildings just, caught fire and suddenly disappeared, but they're all made out of marble and stone doesn't burn. So
Right.
that's interesting. Here's another picture of Tartarian architecture back in the late early 1800s.
Hmm.
That was in Chicago.
Hmm.
You don't see that stuff anymore.
Right.
That stuff's not there anymore. None of that is there anymore. Why did we get rid of all of this as Americans? Why
I
did
have
we
no
not
clue.
want this?
I don't know.
It makes no sense to me. It
Right.
makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, for instance, they always say like the Tartarian Empire couldn't have existed in the way that people believe it did, right?
Right.
But all over the world, literally all over the world, we have buildings that the only way to explain them because of when they were built and the time that they were built in is basically old world architecture that was mis misidentified as been being made by people that didn't that only had hammer and chisel. That absolutely makes no sense. And this is one that makes no sense to me. Okay, this is supposedly done with hammer and chisel. You're going to see it right now. This was supposedly done with hammer and chisel.
Yeah, no. There's no
Do you
way.
believe that was done with hammer and chisel?
No.
That was built in the early 1700s.
Hmm.
That was built in the early 1700s. It is no longer there. That was in, if I'm correct, that was in is that in India? Let me see real quick. It is. Huh. Where is this from? Oh, okay. So it's close to it's somewhere in Spain. That one is somewhere in Spain. According to Reddit. And you know Reddit's not always right, but
Right.
they claim that that is somewhere in Spain. With the Tartarian architecture, man, it's everywhere. It's in literally every place you could think of. Like here's another really good one for you. And I show these to people because they blow my mind. The architecture that they talk about is supposedly all been done in the 1800s, and it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Here's another picture, okay? This is also supposedly done in the early 1800s, late 1700s. Hammer and chisel.
There's no way. I mean, there's no way that was made by hammer and chisel.
That's what we're told. We are told that that building right there was made by hammer and chisel.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
I can't believe that. Do you know how long it would take to build that building? By
Longer than a
hammer and
year.
chisel? I don't care if you have 800 people doing it. I don't care if you have 800 freaking people doing it. That building is going to take 10 to 30 years.
Right.
Easy. With just hammer and chisel. I'm glad I got you into the Tartarian architecture because I've always felt crazy about it, and people don't understand my whole standpoint on Tartarian architecture and why I'm so into it. But anyways, guys, let's go on to the next video. We're going to stop talking about Tartaria. We're going to have a whole nother episode on Tartaria.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, dude? Hey, buddy. You a big healthy boy. What's up, buddy? God, look at the size of you. Holy crap.
Just walking through the neighborhood, man. Just
Yep.
on a daily stroll.
Mm-hmm. Minding its own business, just enjoying its life.
I don't know what I would do. Can you imagine the people that live in those houses? What they're
Right.
thinking the entire time that bear's just taking a stroll through the neighborhood.
Right.
Hide your kid, hide your wives. The grizzly bears are everywhere.
After 2 weeks of journeying, I have finally made it to the bottom of the world, Antarctica. Well, actually to the edge of the world. because I finally found the famous ice wall. And it's actually too dangerous to go up there, so I'm just gonna put this 360 camera way up into the sky. It actually reaches up into like the dome, and I'll show you the edge of the world. It's pretty wild. It's so insane. I found the edge of the flat earth. So stoked. Wow, can you see it up there, the edge? Pretty wild. You see the ice wall? It goes all the way around the world. And I finally found it. It's about time that I proved that the earth was finally flat. You're welcome.
That's so fake. It's a man with a camera that makes it look round, and he's like showing you part of the snow area, and it looks round in the camera because he's using a fisheye lens. Thanks, crew. Thanks,
You're
crew.
welcome. You're welcome.
You know how people say life doesn't feel real ever since 2020?
Yeah.
Well, look, it's because it isn't. For the decades leading up to 2020, there was something going on that the general public never could have expected. Certain aspects of our technology weren't only just providing services for us, they were planning a dramatic shift of consciousness. Google Earth, for the last 25 years, has been creating a completely digitized, three-dimensional blueprint of the entire planet, a perfect database of 3D tracked images of what our external world looks like. While all of our devices that were inside the home, riddled with cameras, have been slowly building back-end digitized replicas of what our households look and feel like. Silently, this siphoned visual information was being harnessed to build a massive digitized replica of our world inside and out, a kind of complex virtual reality that perfectly mimics the real one. Our digital footprints were used to create hyper-realistic digital avatars in this world that look and feel just like us. This virtual reality was being
That's a really creepy thought.
Right. I saw that. I was listening. I'm like, holy shit, that's creep. That's hard to think about.
Julie says that's some really neat stuff that we're looking at. It really is, though, Julie. I really like it a lot. Yeah, no, that's creepy though. I don't really like that. You know, with facial recognition, right? Like
Mhm.
you know all about the Chinese. Have you heard about the Chinese facial recognition though?
No.
Yeah, no, the Chinese facial recognition. Let me see if I can show you. I'm gonna try to show you these. This is creepy. Okay. Now to show you. This thing it's just it's so creepy. It bothers me, to be quite honest. If I can get this to come up here, StreamYard's doing its thing again, where it's not being very happy.
Sounds about right.
I don't know what's going on. It's dude, are you there?
I'm still here.
It's not letting me pull this up. It'll pull it up, but it's the facial recognition from China, and basically their cameras,
Hmm.
their camera facial recognition, and know exactly who you are, where you're located, where your bank account is, how much money you have in your bank account. They can deduct money from your bank account even if they don't know, like if you do it, if you get a ticket for something, they
Right.
can legitimately look up, like just look you up and completely take all of your money directly out of your bank account without ever asking you or needing to ask you for any of it.
Right. Which is
And it's really
messed
scary
up.
because it's kind of like that's it's, well, yeah, but it's kind of like what they kind of want to do here in America at some point. And I don't know if you've heard of like the social credit scores, but
Mm-mm.
social credit scores are crazy because basically, if you don't have a good enough social credit score, you won't be allowed to be in certain places. Like if you want to go to a football game, or you want to go see people, or you want to go say you want to leave the country for some reason, but you don't
Hmm.
have a good enough social score, uh like in China, they can literally tell you you're not freaking going anywhere, you're not leaving because you don't get to do that because your social score is so bad. Like, it's absolutely insane. Like, I don't even understand how it's legal.
Yeah, that doesn't sound
I
legal at
really
all.
don't. I don't understand. But it's China, and China gets away with all of that stuff because their citizens don't really have rights.
Right.
And this is what it looks like. I finally found one that I can show you. Um, but it's disturbing. This is what it looks like, guys.
Mm.
So all those green boxes are the AI, and the AI is reading all of their faces, and the Chinese or Japanese characters, but I think they're Chinese characters. The Chinese characters that are above their heads are their names. So the AI is literally seeing them, and then it's searching through the internet for that person. It's finding your social media platforms, your bank accounts, who you are, where you work, who you work for, who you're dating, what kind of car you drive. It knows absolutely everything. You can't get away with anything in China.
Mm.
Nothing.
Mm-mm-mm.
But I just thought that was kind of crazy. I thought I'd show you
Right.
that.
Go from New York to Brazil, Buenos Aires, and then Antarctica without ever coming up to the surface for air. And you can do it all at way more than 1,000 miles an hour on magnetic levitation trains, otherwise called maglev. One thing he told me, he went from Virginia to Los Angeles in 45 minutes. Do the math, 3,000 miles an hour. Most people don't even believe that there's a tunnel network. Hundreds of thousands of miles of tunnel systems.
I remember you telling me about that a long time ago. I'm like, that is believable.
Yes, the tunnels, man, they go all over the country. And that's why Hollow Earth makes sense to me, to be quite honest, is there's so many caves and so many tunnels and so many open systems within the earth that it only makes sense. But the reason why you would have these tunnel systems is if the feds want to move things around without being seen. The elites are worried about a nuclear bomb going off, so they can go somewhere and be able to drive their cars around still and be able to do whatever they want if they're living underneath the surface. Or there's a much more devious reason for these tunnels, and you're looking at like sex trafficking, drug trafficking, and things like that of
Right.
that nature, which is very scary. But I've heard
Yeah.
there's whole underground cities in the tunnel systems.
Mm.
And there's this huge warehouse grocery store or something down there. But wait, it gets even crazier.
She makes like a creepy smile. Oh.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, the mirror that they can see the entire grocery store in, that's weird.
I heard that.
Like, how do you even explain that?
Well, here's what I've heard about that mirror, right? When you go into that mirror, you can't come back out. It's like a different dimension. It's like an endless grocery store.
It's like the back rooms.
Yeah.
Back rooms are crazy. Like, everybody has had a dream at some point where they ended up in the back rooms. And that's just freaky to think about in general.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that astronauts seem like they've never been to space? Looking back at their landing livestream, some details definitely raise doubts. First, everything looks too perfect. The near blue sky, the perfect parachutes. It doesn't seem like a real astronaut landing. When the capsule hit the ocean after going through high temperatures in the atmosphere, there was no steam. Even after landing in the ocean, dolphins swam around, making it look like a sci-fi movie scene. What's even more suspicious is when experts said rescue would take at least 30 minutes, but the rescue team did it in just a few minutes. It was smooth and efficient, almost like it had been rehearsed. What's more, the rescue was done by SpaceX, a company that has had several serious incidents in past flight tests, including a failure on March 6th. Given this history, it's hard not to question their ability to bring astronauts back to Earth. Some even believe these astronauts may not have been to space at all. The footage of them floating inside the capsule could have been shot in a film studio. And remember the Christmas decorations? Their original flight plan was just a week, but they had Christmas supplies. Did they predict being stuck for 9 months? Officially, it was said that the supplies came via SpaceX Cargo Dragon, but was it really necessary to pack space Christmas supplies? No matter if the space rescue was real or not, we can't ignore the effort these two astronauts put in.
So how do you feel about that?
It was all filmed in a studio.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think they lied about those astronauts being stuck up there for 9 months?
Yes.
I mean, the hair is weird, man. I heard that, like you see the lady and she had gray hair like a week before they did all of this. And then when she gets down back to Earth, she has all black hair. And
It's hair
people are
dye.
wondering how they dyed her hair in space. Well, that's what I'm saying. But how'd she
Right.
dye her hair in space?
Right.
Explain that one to me. Like, I'm sure
Exactly.
it's possible. I'd like her to explain how she did it. And let's see if she messes up trying to explain it. And then also, how come they could just get up and walk around? They were in space for 9 months. The body degrades in space. It's very hard to walk after only being in space for like a month. If you come back down to Earth, it's hard to walk. They had no problem getting up or waving their arms or doing anything. But yet, supposedly, they were in space for 9 months.
Right.
And then, if you look at the capsule, man, the capsule that came back down to Earth, why didn't it steam and bubble in the ocean when it hit? It should have. It should have been hot on fire hot.
Mhm.
And then what was up with the dolphins? You really think
Right.
the dolphins would come out of nowhere and be swimming around the pond? I mean, they just so happen to land the the space carrier directly on top of a pod of dolphins. And
Yeah.
y'all don't think the dolphins would have swam away? Would have tried to get
Right.
as far away from that as possible?
Right.
I don't know. There's just it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I can believe it. It's so weird to me. JD Glass says he doubts space missions too, and that's weird. Is I knew a person that worked for NASA, so now I wonder if this person is living a lie. You know, I have felt that way about some of my own family members before, about some of the professions that they work. My biological family. I have two families, adoptive and biological. I was adopted when I was younger. My biological father was a very smart guy, and he worked for some kind of government corporation at some point or another. I was originally told it was NASA, but I think that's not true at all anymore. I don't know what's true and what's not, but I believe that man was very, very, very smart. I believe he probably did work for some kind of government agency at one point. But I feel like, all those government agencies are lying to the people that aren't at the top. If you're not at the very top of the totem pole, you're being lied to.
Exactly.
That's just how I feel about the government and like how the government works. And no matter how much amount of spending or cutting of spending you can create or displace, and by displace I mean the corruption of the bad money going in, somebody's always going to find a way to make more money off of somebody else.
Mhm.
So I doubt a lot that happens in the government. I doubt a lot. There's
This
we
might
got
just be
this
the
one.
best flat earth proof you've ever come across. And trust me, it's going to make you rethink everything. You've heard all the theories about Earth being round, right? We've all seen the pictures from space, the CGI animations, the globe in classrooms. But what if all of that was just part of a larger story? What if you've been missing something right in front of your eyes this entire time? According to what we've been told, the Earth's circumference is about 24,901 miles. Okay, cool. But if that were true, there would need to be a very specific amount of curvature happening as we move across the planet. I mean, we're supposed to be on a ball, right? So naturally it should curve in every single direction, not just the one you're looking at. Think about it for a second. On a ball, no matter where you are, the ground beneath you should bend away. But when you actually look for that curvature, where is it? Now here's where it gets interesting. Instead of relying on NASA's billion-dollar equipment and fisheye lenses, what if you just took matters into your own hands? Some people have done just that, sending high-altitude balloons with regular, non-distorted lenses. And what do you see? No curve. A flat horizon as far as the eye can see. Flat, straight, level. You ever wonder why they're called airplanes and not airballs? They fly straight across the sky, never curving, to match the supposed curvature of a globe. If we were on a ball, wouldn't they need to constantly adjust their altitude? But they don't. They fly level, and don't even get me started on gravity, because let's face it, that's just a theory. After all these years, gravity still hasn't been proven. What we do know Water doesn't stick to a ball. Ever tried balancing water on a basketball? Exactly. The math is another thing that doesn't add up. There's supposed to be a curve of about 8 inches per mile squared, so why don't we ever see it? From high up, you'd expect to see a pretty clear curve, yet the horizon stays flat. That's something you can see with your own eyes. No need for fancy space agencies to tell you otherwise. So why the push to make us believe we're spinning on a ball through space? What's the end game here? Here's the thing. You don't have to take anyone's word for it, not even mine. Just think critically, look around you. Everything in your everyday experience shows a flat, stationary world. They've been pushing the globe model on us since we were kids, but why? Maybe it's time we start questioning that narrative, and don't feel bad if you've believed in the globe your whole life. We've all been there, myself included. But once you start doing your own research, things start making a lot more sense. Suddenly it clicks. The flat earth isn't just a theory for some fringe group. There are real, undeniable proofs right in front of us. You've just got to be willing to see them.
And how do you feel about that one?
I don't know. You tell me, because I've been talking about this for months.
I want to see this Antarctic ice wall for myself. You take me to Antarctica and we go travel the ice wall, we will figure out if that is true shit or not.
If we can ever make it out there.
Yeah, it costs too much money, man.
I know.
Nah, bro, you cannot tell me. We are not living in a movie. So after 9 months stranded in space, the two astronauts, Sonny and Butch, they touch down to Earth in a scene so goddamn beautiful, it looks AI generated. You can see boats racing to them in the distance, and then SpaceX hits them with the coldest line that they've been waiting 286 days to hear.
Butch, Sonny, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
Oh, and just when you think it couldn't get any cooler, they are welcomed by a pod of dolphins. What is this? Now keep in mind, they haven't felt gravity in like nearly a year, and you can lose about 1/3 of muscle mass in just 2 weeks. So, when they actually touched down, they needed help standing up again, and they were even given these rolling chairs so that their bodies can begin readjusting. Sonny broke the world record for the most spacewalking for a female astronaut. Oh, and apparently, they won't be paid overtime for the trip, which was only supposed to last about a week. According to their website, NASA astronauts make about $152K. Nice, 6 figures, but according to a former astronaut, Katie Coleman, they won't qualify for the months of overtime. Instead, Coleman said that they will be paid on the same basis as a federal employee on an extended business trip, which are compensated for a handful of incidentals. Please tell me that can't be true.
Did they go to space, bro?
No.
I know, dude. I'm telling you, JD, that video that they had everybody watch about the space, about the thing coming back in from space and landing in the water and all the dolphins and the parachutes coming out. How did they get video of the parachutes and above the parachutes at the time that the parachutes came undone? How did they get that video? Also, the thing doesn't steam at all when it hits the water. That's bullshit. It's directly bullshit. If it was really re-entering the atmosphere, that piece of metal would have been thousands of degrees when it hit the water. It should have bubbled. And they should have been in some kind of heat-resistant gear and not that, not the freaking TikTok-looking space outfit that they bought off Temu. Okay, that's what it looked like. They look like fake spacesuits. When have you ever seen a spacesuit that looked like that? That those people were wearing when they came out. We have always seen the big chunky spacesuits that they had to wear on the moon and that they purposefully wore in other places. which they had those spacesuits, but when they came out of the space pods, they weren't wearing those. They were wearing these other weird spacesuits that didn't make any sense. Basically,
Right.
Sunny's boots weren't even connected to her pants, which would leave an opening in the boot that would mean that air or no air or the absence of air or space could enter into her clothing and kill her instantaneously had there ever been a leak one time.
Mm-hmm.
We really have
Exactly.
to think about things like that. Those things don't make very much sense.
Right.
Out of everything in the world today that's going on, though, what's the craziest thing that you think is going on right now that nobody's talking about?
I couldn't tell you.
You don't have anything you're like researching into that you're like, why isn't anybody talking about this?
Right.
I'll tell you one. Feral people. I'm stuck in a loop on this thing about feral people living out in the mountains of Appalachia. I think it's real.
JD has a point.
What's he say?
Here's my biggie thought. Who was videotaping live the first steps on the moon if nobody was on the moon yet?
Exactly.
Thank you. That's what I've been saying.
They had a crew that was already there. That crew already flew up there, and they were already up there, and they got out on the moon, and they needed to film Neil Armstrong's first steps on the moon because he's the first man on the moon, even though they're already there videotaping it. Oh,
And it
but
was
I will tell you their excuse for that, by the way, was a camera attached to the shuttle pod, which doesn't make any sense because the video of Neil was taken in front of the shuttle pod, not on it.
when it was actually filmed in a studio.
Supposedly, it was supposedly filmed in the Arizona desert. Supposedly, or New Mexico. Nobody really knows. And supposedly Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landing, or so we're told. But like I said, I don't know a lot about that. But there is a guy. If you're very interested in like if the moon landing is real or if the moon landing was faked, look up this guy called Bart Sabrell and look up a documentary called "A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon." It is probably the best evidence I've ever seen that the moon landing is 120% fake. Um, I think Bart Sabrell is full of shit every now and then, but his whole theory about the moon makes perfect sense. Makes absolutely perfect sense. So
Right.
go check that out. I'm shouting out Bart Sabrell. Funny thing happened on the way to the moon. Go check that documentary out. It's worth it. Also, have y'all seen the amount of wires and wire videos of people supposedly walking in space or walking inside of the space station or jumping around in the space station and their buddy like has to grab the back of their pants and pull them closer, but they're obviously grabbing a wire?
I've seen that.
Those ones are weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do we have wires in space?
Right.
I don't believe it for a second. Not for a second. See, I want space to be real so bad because of the fact that when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted that. I wanted that sense of doing something that was so crazy and unknown that like you'd go out there and then you come back a hero. And then you find out that like a lot of these people don't get that. they get like maybe a couple $100,000 and then they have to hide for the rest of their lives because they have to lie to the American people about what they did or did not do in space.
Right.
Does that blow your mind that people actually have to do that? That like even Neil Armstrong, like he doesn't come out and talk about the moon landing because I'm pretty sure he feels guilty about lying to the entire world.
Right.
What's some topics you're really been into lately?
Well, I mean, besides flat Earth, there's the Tartarian Empire. There's whole bunch, man. Paranormal, you name it. I've been into a lot.
You seen any good paranormal footage lately?
Mm, no.
Me neither. I keep running across the same videos, and I'm like, we
Right.
need some new clips.
Yeah.
The ghosts need to come back out and bother more people, so we get
Mm,
more clips of them.
right.
So, do you think they're going to fake an alien invasion?
I don't know.
You ever heard of Project Bluebeam?
Of course I have. We talked about it before.
I truthfully believe in the next year to 2 years, they could fake an alien invasion, and half the world would fall for it.
Oh, JD said, I think space or universe in some form is very real, but we can't get to it. Biblically, there may be water above our sky, which is why stars can look like lights underwater.
100%. And that's why when you stare up at the sky and you take a telescope and you look at it, you see that rippling effect and like the starlight, which you're saying looks like light coming through water. So basically, what Crew's been saying since the very beginning is that we live in a dome, and that dome basically is holding, or sorry, not holding, but refracting the light that is coming in, which causes that wavy look, that watery look of the light, and that above our dome is water. Supposedly is water. There's water there above the dome.
Yep. It's called the firmament for a reason.
Julie says she's heard of some special op people who did secret missions in Arizona and got some type of cancer, and now they can't get treated, and the government won't help pay for their treatment.
Mm. But yeah,
Do you
JD said,
remember who that is, Julie? The group. If you could remember what that is, I mean, I'll try to find it, but I have to look up like special op people who got screwed in Arizona, and I don't know if it'll pop up anything.
but yeah, JD said, yep, very possible.
I think it is, and I know you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
You live by it. That's your whole thing. You think the biblical Earth is the thing, that's the real and truthful thing about the Earth, and that's every day, more and more every day, I get pulled in closer to it. And like I used to be like, man, flat Earth is such bullshit. But the more and more I look into it, the more and more it makes sense. And that scares me because I don't want this whole like I guess I just don't want that change in my life at this moment. I'm like, I don't need to believe at 100% in flat Earth. And then there's parts of me that are like, just research it some more. And then when I do, I'm like, oh my god, it's real.
Mm. Oh, yep. JD said this. Biblically, there may be an alien, but actually, angel invasion as part of the rapture or sorting of people. An alien invasion is what I was referring to, possibly being an angel invasion.
So do you believe then that all paranormal entities are angels and demons, JD? Like are aliens and all these other creatures that go bump in the night, are those demons and angels? I've heard that before. How do you feel about that, crew? Do
I
you
mean,
think do you think all aliens that come here are angels and demons?
it makes sense.
So do you believe that they're probably like the fallen, the Anunnaki probably?
Yep.
So I know a lot of us know what the Nephilim and the Anunnaki are, but a lot of us don't probably. And the Anunnaki and the Nephilim were the giants and the giants of old days that supposedly ran the earth before anybody else, and they were supposedly the gods that ancient Egypt and Greece and Rome looked up to. So the Nephilim supposedly had people here on this earth to dig up gold for their ships, and we were slaves to the Nephilim, and we dug up gold to power their ships. That's supposedly what it is. I don't know if the Nephilim story is real. A part of me really would like it to be because it makes it all interesting and mysterious. But it would also be kind of a letdown to think about we were literally just made by other creatures to mine gold for them. It's like that episode of Rick and Morty when Rick has the box that he hits, and it's the Flugel crank. And inside of the Flugel crank is an entire dimension that Rick built himself, and their only purpose is to power the other dimension he's building.
Right. Okay, so JD said biblically the Bible does reference unclean spirits and demons. Mary, Jesus' friend, that was a prostitute, was delivered from 7 or so demons, from my understanding.
So when I get into like the Bible kind of stuff like that, like I am going to be the first person to tell you, JD, that I don't know a lot about the Bible. I know what I've been told, and I know what I've been taught, but I grew up Jewish. So I know more about the Torah than I do about the Bible. And the Torah, at least to my knowledge, we know like the kind of Jew we were, which was Orthodox. They did not believe in like demons or demonic energy. So I never really kind of got to learn about that kind of thing. It wasn't until I got with my grandmother and my mom, and we went to like different churches just to see if I liked that kind of thing instead, that I started hearing pastors talk about demonic energy and demonic spirits, and that those were a possibility. And then, of course, I saw weird things in my life growing up, which I now attribute to probably demonic energy. But that's crazy. Mary, so if Mary Magdalene, the prostitute, was a demon or delivered from 7 or so demons, that would mean that what that Jesus exorcised her of the demons. Is that what happened? Do you know, crew?
I have to re-look it up, but it makes sense. Yeah, it's been a
Okay.
while since I've actually read that part of the Bible.
Yeah, I don't know my Bible enough to really quote anything like that. But if it's saying that he's saying that biblically the Bible does reference unclean spirits and demons, Mary Magdalene is who he's talking about. Jesus's
Mhm.
friend that was a prostitute was delivered from 7 or so demons from his understanding. So that makes me believe that Jesus saved Mary Magdalene from her demons,
Right.
whether it was figuratively or literally. I don't know. When it comes down to like the whole Jesus and spirit realm, it's very hard for me to like sit here and like follow it and be like, yes, that's what happened because the Bible said that's what happened. But there's also parts of me that are like, I really hope God and all of that is the way exactly that Christians and Catholics and Jews explain it, and that there's a heaven and that these people get to go there when they die because then you're reunited with all of your family and the afterlife is really what you're going for. But the crazy thing is all these religions tell you that you're not going to the afterlife unless you pay them or do something amazingly nice for other people. So I've kind of lost hope in religion that you are required to pay for.
JD said, yes, Jesus removed the demons from her, casted them out, is more of a biblical phrase in how it's called.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, thank you for teaching me something tonight, JD. But how do you feel about what I was just talking about?
It's basically a big ol' for those who, are walking in fresh, trying to get an understanding on the topic, they need to take it slow because when you go into a topic like what we're talking about right now, like Jesus and all that, you're gonna want to take it slow because it's a lot.
Oh yeah, it can definitely be a lot. But
Because here's the thing: God's word is so big and so long that you're gonna want to like start off, from the beginning and work your way through each
well,
book.
I think the hardest thing for people is having the time to do it.
Right.
It's it's devoting the time to actually read the Bible because so many of us are always working. So many of us are always doing something with our families. So many of us are always we're just constantly our time is being taken up. And that's the ultimate sin, right? Is not making time for God, supposedly. I'm not very religious, so I mean, in God's eyes, I could be committing the ultimate sin towards God, which is not praising or believing in God. I don't know. I like to look at it as if as long as you preach positivity and you are a positive person, even if you don't believe in God or Jesus, you'll still go to heaven because positive people don't do negative things.
So basically,
I don't understand why God would damn his children that don't understand who he is. Because God's a very hard concept to understand. You have to sit there and actually think something or somebody or some kind of energy created all of this, including me. And it did it for a reason. That's an extremely hard concept for anybody. Like, not let alone us, but think about these like kids that are being taught that in Sunday school.
Okay, so JD said, I think curiosity leads you to the word of the Bible, and reading the Bible will help you know what to believe and how to try to have a personal relationship with God slash Jesus, if that's what you would like to do.
Oh, for sure. And I don't have a problem with that. I like learning and I read a lot of books and I listen to a lot of books on tape and occasionally I listen to religious books. I've been thinking about listening to the Bible, especially now that one of my favorite comedians is actually listening to Johnny Cash read the Bible on like his premium content or whatever on Patreon. Um, I actually would love to do that. If I could listen to Johnny Cash read the Bible every night, I would. That's so cool. Um, I don't have like for me the Bible just it loses my attention really fast. And I
Okay,
don't
so
mean
this is
but
what gets you into heaven, just so you know, Robert. Um, Christianity. In Christianity, the primary belief is that faith in Jesus Christ, acceptance of Him as Lord and Savior, are essential for salvation and entrance into heaven. Key
okay,
principles: faith in Jesus
but,
Christ, believing
but
in Jesus' life.
do you understand what I'm saying about how like if you believe in a all good God, like a God that can do no wrong or whatever like some of these religions believe, why would that God smite his children for not believing him or believing in
Right,
who he is if he cannot do no wrong?
right.
So, if the Christians really believe that if you don't believe in Jesus and you don't give up your entire life, blood, and soul to Jesus, that you're not going to the afterlife or you're not going to heaven, then is that God really a good God?
Well, there's many different religions that believe how you get in heaven. Like, okay, so for instance, let's let's keep on with the key principles for Christianity real quick. Faith in
Oh yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Johnny Cash reading the Bible is absolutely amazing, and
Yeah.
I love it. I would like to listen to it some more.
So believing in Jesus' life, death, and resurrection as the Son of God, repentance, turning away from sin and toward God, acceptance of Jesus as Lord and Savior, embracing Jesus as the ultimate authority and Redeemer, good works and obedience, demonstrating faith through actions and following God's commandments. Other religions and belief systems. Islam. Muslim believe that salvation comes through submission to Allah's will, good deeds, and following the five pillars of Islam. Judaism. Jews believe in following the Torah and the commandments to achieve righteousness and a path in the afterlife. Hinduism. Hindus
For
believe
sure,
in
JD. By the way, JD, we completely we love learning things. We love going over things like that. Sorry to interrupt you, crew.
you're good.
But JD said there's so much more that he could share with us on things that I was saying, but he can't type so much at once. So he'll try to help in days come if there's still interest. There's always interest, man. There's always interest.
Right. But like Hinduism, Hindus believe in the cycle of reincarnation with the ultimate goal of achieving moksha, liberation through good karma and devotion. Buddhism. Buddhists believe in achieving enlightenment through the Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths, ultimately escaping universal love and compassion, showing kindness, empathy, and love towards others, selflessness and generosity, putting others' needs before one's own and giving to those in need, personal growth and self-improvement, striving to become a better person and overcoming flaws, respect and reverence, showing respect for a higher power. The
Reverence.
Yeah, thank you, reverence. The showing the respect for a higher power, the universe, or the natural world.
Yeah, it's basically respecting the thing that created you, respecting that thing's child, and respecting all that goes along with living in life. The problem that I have in it, the problem that I have with that is the second you say, "Oh, no, I don't believe that this could happen because my brain can't comprehend it." Now all of a sudden you're not going to heaven.
So what Julie just said, it's a free choice to believe.
Yeah,
Right.
100%, which should be how it is.
So
But that's
right.
not.
So basically,
But if you look at the Christian belief, my guy, and you look at the Jewish belief, it's not a free choice. It's you either believe in God or you're not going anywhere after you die. You either give up your entire
but
rights to God or you're not going anywhere after you die. You're going to
right.
stay locked in purgatory
But here's the
or,
thing.
or
What
worse.
but the thing is, God gives us free will.
Yeah, 100%. Supposedly.
So
God given free will. That's a saying.
so basically, you have free will to choose whether or not if you want to believe or not. Now, if you want to be a believer in God and Jesus and go about what the word says, that's your choice. He's
But
not going to force you to believe in him, but he'll be but he'll be
but why
sad.
will I be but why will people be damned for not believing? That's what I'm saying. Doesn't that make that God technically a bad God? If that God wants to kill or not, or sorry, not kill. If that God wants to damn people for not believing in his children. That's or for his children not believing in him. Because if you remember correctly, when the Israelites went to the top of or when Moses went to the top of the mountain and brought down the tablets to the Israelites, they were worshiping a golden calf,
Okay.
right?
All right. So
Right?
I'm going to explain this real quick so you get a little understanding. What separates you from God? Real quick. Okay? So you get an understanding.
I had a thought going there,
Sin.
bro. You ruined it.
I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry. But you,
it's about the calf. No. Here's what it is. It's when Moses went up the mountain, right?
mhm.
To get the commandments, to bring them down and lay them out before the people. And when Moses realized once he got back down there that the people had abandoned basically what he was talking about and God, Moses broke the tablets and basically threw the golden ox over and said, "You cannot worship that. That is not the true God," and got upset and walked up the mountain, right?
Right.
Didn't God basically tell Moses when once he got back up to the mountain and asked for the commandments again that he basically said you have to forgive them because they know no better? I don't like basically that's what was said by God was like you have to forgive these people because they know no better. But if they continue this after being told the righteous way or whatever, then it becomes wrong.
Okay. So this is give you a little understanding, Robert.
Just a second. JD just said, we are all already in a sinking ship, not going to heaven because of Adam and Eve. Before Jesus, you had to do sacrifices to make up for your sins to be saved. Jesus, because our ultimate sacrifice. Yes, Jesus supposedly did do the ultimate sacrifice and died for our sins. So
Okay.
if that's true, then yeah, then I don't think anybody has to believe in anything because Jesus died for your right to not believe in anything and go to heaven.
Hold on. Hold on. This is what will separate you from going to heaven, from God. This explains this. All right. So I found what you get a little understanding. All right. So a profound and complex question in various religious and spiritual traditions. The concept of separation from God or the divine is often explored. Here are some perspectives. Christianity side. Sin. Christianity teaches that sin separates humans from God. Isaiah 59:2. Romans 3:23. Through faith in Jesus Christ and repentance, this separation can be bridged. Disobedience. Disobeying God's commandments and laws can create a sense of separation. 1 Samuel 15:23, Matthew 7:21 through 23. Other religions and philosophies. Ignorance. In Hinduism and Buddhism, ignorance of one's true nature and the ultimate reality can create a sense of separation from the divine. Ego. In various spiritual traditions, the ego or the sense of self can create a separation from the divine as it creates a sense of individuality and distinction. Karma.
Individuality, yeah.
Yeah. Karma. In Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, accumulated karma, actions, and their consequences can create a sense of separation from the divine. Free will.
Okay, so JD says, by the way, JD says that Jesus took our punishment for our sins on the cross. If you accept Jesus as the Savior, your punishment is counted when Jesus died on the cross. So, and by that logic, if you believe that Jesus was a real person and died for what he died for, you're going to heaven.
Right.
Which I'm not arguing that Jesus wasn't real. I think Jesus was a very real person.
But yeah, then there's free will in some philosophy and theological traditions. Human free will and the ability to make choices can create a sense of separation from the divine. Universal principles. Lack of awareness. A lack of awareness or understanding of one's connection to the divine can create a sense of separation. Disconnection from nature. Disconnection from nature in the natural world can also contribute to a sense of separation from divine. Negative emotions. Negative emotions such as fear, anger, and hatred can create a sense of separation from the divine. Lack of love and compassion. A lack of love and compassion for oneself and others can also contribute to a sense of separation from the divine.
Gotcha. All right, well, guys, I am looking at the time right now, and we've hit it's about an hour and 30 minutes, so we're gonna wrap this up here tonight. We could always come back and talk more about religion later. I am always down for that. We're gonna figure out what we're doing tomorrow, and hopefully here on Sunday, as long as nothing goes wrong, we will be having our Tartarian episode where we do our own content throughout Kansas City, which would be absolutely fun. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. I do want to give a quick shout out to everybody that watched our video last week, and to everybody that also watched our video yesterday. Yesterday, our video blew up yesterday. We're sitting at 2.6 thousand views on that video. Oh, thank you. JD said he shared some neat YouTube videos in yesterday's show video that we did. Thank you,
Much
JD.
appreciated.
Yeah. But we got 2.6K views on that video yesterday. So that's absolutely insane. And then the video we had last week, we got 1.8K. So we're doing pretty good. We're getting our cast out there. And for everybody that's over here that's been helping us, thank you so much. It means so much to us that you guys are here and back us and want to listen to us and want to help us and also just learn with us. That means the world to us. Thank you, Julie, and thank you, JD. It means a ton to us that you guys back us and watch us on here every night or whenever you have the chance. Much love to you guys. Tonight was an awesome night. Did you have a good night, crew?
Definitely. Always have a good night when we're on the Robert and Crew show.
Yeah, I love kicking it with you and talking with you and learning and doing all this stuff. It's awesome. I always love talking flat Earth with you because you get so into it.
Oh yeah,
you just get so into it. I love it. Oh, I'm glad you really enjoyed hanging out in here, JD. Come by more often. You are more than welcome to come up in here. This place is a safe space. We love talking. We love learning. We love just hanging out. But from me to you and from crew to you and from everybody here, we love all of you, and we're gonna say goodnight. Good night from the Robert and Crew show, guys. Have a wonderful evening and get some sleep. You need your beauty sleep, guys. All the sleep in the world. You heal when you sleep. Remember that.
If you don't like boring news but still crave the truth, then dive into the Robert and Crew show. From mind-bending conspiracy theories to wild weather phenomena, we've got it all. Ever wondered what's really happening in your hometown or what secrets the global news isn't telling you? We dig deep into the core of every story, unraveling the mysteries one podcast at a time. Join Robert and the crew as we navigate this vibrant, ever-changing cyberpunk landscape, bringing you interviews with the most intriguing minds out there. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, a news junkie or a weather enthusiast, there's something here for you. So strap in, listeners, because we're about to take you on a ride through the neon-lit alleys of truth and intrigue. This is the Robert and Crew show, where the future meets the fantastic.